shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Now let's have Ministry of Works and Housing to come to the table and kindly introduce yourselves to the committee.
Mr. Chairman, my name is Honorable Banga Abdullahi, Deputy Minister for Works and Housing and MP for Binduri. I'm here with the Chief Director and officers from the Public Works Department. So they will also introduce themselves.
Honorable Chairman, my name is Solomon Asola, Chief Director, Works and Housing.
Honorable Chair, my name is Glorina Nayanate, Acting Engineer-in-Chief, PWD.
Honorable Chairman, my name is Alberta Kwaku, Director, General Administration, Ministry of Works and Housing.
Come in. You have two issues with the Public Works Department, and then we'll just go straight to the issues and see how you have responded to them. The first one is paragraph 335. 335. That is outstanding rent that the auditors have observed or noted that some offices in Sunyani, Tamale, Ho Regional Office, and then the Northern Regional Rural Integrated Program, they owe rents to the tune of 192,976 Ghana cedis, 11 pesos. Now, they have recommended to management to recover the outstanding money or rent, and also to ensure that the tenancy agreement is strictly complied with. What action have you taken? The four offices, Sunyani, PWD, Tamale PWD, Ho Regional Office of PWD, and then NORIP.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Respectfully, as we alluded to in written response, the assets in question are no longer under the custody of Management of Public Works Department Head Office. The decentralization policy, the regions as well as the districts have been ceded to the Local Government Service by Act NLI 1961/2009. So as we speak now, these assets are not under our remit, Honorable, respectfully.
But at the time of the audit, they were under you?
No, sir. They were not.
Audit service? The claim is that these offices are not under the Ministry of Works and Housing, but they're under the region and then the district's offices respectively.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, you recall that when we went, I think, Sunyani, during the public sitting of the committee, a similar issue arose where the auditees were shifting position, that this belongs to this entity, this belongs here. I believe that this is a case where we'll have to take up and follow through to establish the accuracy of the information we are getting. Because at the time of the audit, these were information we got from them that the Public Works Department has responsibility for the official accommodation. Thank you.
So your officers in the region and the districts do get confirmation from the offices where they belong. Is that the case? But here we don't have any evidence to that. So let me suggest that because of the challenges we are having, where today the offices are claiming that they are not under them, tomorrow another one says, oh, these offices are under Ministry of Local Government, under this. Shall we have a system where when the audit team goes, they commit the officers by signing some kind of undertaking that this is the information they provided? So that when they come here, and we have that information, we can then confirm whether they are telling the truth or not.
We are guided, Chairman. We'll do that. Thank you.
Now, Chief Director, so are we now saying that the PWD office in Sunyani is now under the Regional Coordinating Council, or what? Is that what we are saying?
Yes, please, Chairman.
Similarly for Tamale?
Similarly, all the regions.
All the regions.
Yeah,
so all these offices are under the Regional Coordinating
Councils. No more under the Ministry of Works and Housing. What remains is the head office of PWD.
Okay. And which act? What is the act that transferred the asset to these offices?
The Local Government Service Act.
Local Government Service Act.
Then, okay. Yeah, LI 2009.
All right, so
the next question is also related. It's about occupants of Nori bungalows. They are your workers, or they were your workers. The report is that about 8 or so workers of yours who have retired. In 2 cases, they are even deceased. They are still occupying government bungalows. So there's a general issue. Why is it that officers who have retired since 2013 are still occupying your bungalows. And in 2 instances, even the officers are dead. Their families are occupying the bungalow. Why? Why is it so?
Respectfully, Honorable, the officers in question are local government service staff, and we don't have jurisdiction over them.
They are local government officers.
Yes, sir. In view of the decentralization policy, they are transferred to the local government service.
But anyway, since you are the ministry responsible for a lot of government bungalows, what is the policy on people who retire and continue to, if you like, reside in government bungalows? Is there any policy or any administrative procedure to make sure that it doesn't happen?
Yeah, respectfully, allocations of bungalows and flats in the regions are done by the RCCs and not by the head office in Accra, I mean by the Ministry of Works and Housing. And so the ultimate responsibility of who stays there and who gets out resides in the RCCs.
Yes, I said.
Yes, the general policy is that upon retirement, you are given about 3 months to stay in the house, the bungalow or the flat, and then get out of the place.
Yeah, okay. Most bungalows in, let's say, Accra will be occupied by civil servants. I think that may not be under your ministry. They may have different ministries. So are you saying you don't have any responsibility towards making sure that these people...
In Accra we do, in the regions we don't.
And you don't have any instances where people are staying beyond 3 months? In Accra?
In Accra, when you stay beyond 3 months, we take steps to evict you with the support of the Ghana police.
I didn't get your answer.
When your time for staying in a government bungalow expires, by the time your tenure in that bungalow expires, the bungalow has been allocated to somebody. We don't wait till you vacate before we allocate it. So we have a list. We know those who are retiring, and we make preparations to allocate bungalows to the next occupants. So that's what we do. And so if beyond 3 months you still stay in the bungalow, then that is unlawful. So we take steps to evict you.
I know it's unlawful, but I'm asking you a specific question. Do you have some people who are staying in bungalows in Accra who should have left and they are still there? Do you have some?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
If you ask the auditors to check, they will not find anything like that?
Not to the best of my knowledge right now. What I know is that those who are not supposed to stay there have been evicted.
Okay, Chairman, that'll be all for me.
All right, so in view of this, we will have to discharge the Ministry of Works and Housing, but we'll find time and invite the regional coordinating councils to appear before the committee. So you are discharged. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Let's move to Ministry of Justice. Kindly introduce yourselves to the committee.
Thank you very much, Alfred Tia Yaboa, Deputy Attorney General and Deputy Minister of Justice. The other officers also introduce themselves.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. My name is Mrs. Jemima Oware, Registrar General.
Honorable Chair, my name is Satapia, Chief Accountant, Registrar General.
Honorable Chair, my name is Benik Bano, Acting Chief Director.
Honorable Chair, my name is Renaud Kwashi, Director General Administration.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Honorable Deputy Minister, where is the Minister himself?
Unfortunately, he could not make it today due to other assignments, and I've been delegated to represent him.
Due to other assignments, it's more important than the Public Accounts Committee, because we deal with mortuary bodies.
That is not the case.
Because they have been spent already, so you don't care whether you have been called, you'll be chasing the fresh meat instead of the dead one.
That is not the case, Honorable Chair.
Then what is the case?
Because he had an unavoidable assignment. I mean, I put it that way. Something that he needed to attend. He just delegated me to come. But if Honorable Chair will maybe take us back, we've always been present. I usually come to visit the ministry as and when he's available, then he comes. But today he's unavoidably absent.
We'll accept you to represent the minister, but you'll be working more for Parliament, because this committee has started referring people to your office for prosecution. The last report we issued, there were a number of assemblies and schools that we have referred for prosecution. And so try and detail somebody who will be liaising with Parliament, especially with public account, to get copies of the report so that you initiate the process. Because from next year, we'll be inviting you, not based on the report of the Auditor General, where you are cited, or any of your agencies cited, but we invite you as the prosecutor to come and tell us what action you've taken. Because that is what the Public Financial Management Act says. Okay? So just a reminder, it's not anything different.
Very well, Honorable Chair. We are ready for the task.
Thank you very much. Now we'll start with the Registrar General Department and paragraph 360, and Honorable Deputy Ranking Member will take the issue.
Thank you very much, Chairman. And welcome to Deputy Minister and Madam Registrar General. This query borders on the Retention Act, which Regulation 18 of the FRA 2004 states that department that has legal approval or legislative approval to retain or a portion of your internally generated funds collected first must lodge the retained IGF in gross in the department's operational bank account designated by the Controller and Accountant General before disbursements are made. However, from the Auditor General's work, we have observed that liquidation fees amounting to 427,522.28 and also commission on COSCA activities of 41,000, all totaling some 468,000, received by the Registrar General were not transferred in gross into the holding account. I want to find out from you why you failed in appreciating this legal regulation.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. With liquidation, normally you have a liquidation account that the official liquidator operates with, and out of the liquidation account you pay fees, and normally it's a percentage of assets realized. So you realize that we have about I think all investments, Panalpina, I think DKM liquidation fee, all amounting to the 427,000 that was paid into our official liquidation fee account. And so by this regulation, all those money should have first of all been paid in gross into the holding account. This was a period when, as an office, our IGF had been reduced from 16% to 13%. And we had a budget or a plan of having enough resources to handle our utilities. And it came at a time when we're having issues with electricity, with water, and so management took that decision to use these monies to settle those pressing issues. Because can you imagine the department without lights? It would have been chaos at the front office. So we sorted on once the issue was raised. We have currently paid in 429,871.69 into the holding account as recommended. So when our IGF came back, we were able to pay these monies, and this is what happened. We have attached the evidence that we've actually paid this money back into the holding account in Appendix A, which I believe you all have. So this is what happened. That's how come we did not pay it straight away.
See, Madam, I can forgive you if this infraction were coming from, let's say, the Ministry of Works and Housing, maybe their housing department and all of that. But this is the Registrar General's department, which is manned by lawyers, which is under the Attorney General's department. And we expect that at least the law is followed to the letter. Yes, there may be instances where you have difficulties and all of that. But if from your end, you fail in appreciating the law, then there's no need for other agencies to even appear before us when they go through this same infraction. I mean, the truth be told, your argument that you needed to have paid electricity bill and all of that may be needed, but the justification for it in the face of this very regulation, I think is not proper. Yes, you may have paid the money, but once we, especially agencies of authority, fail in appreciating the law, then you begin to create problems for us. So we are praying that these things do not happen again. We realize that the 13% that you were supposed to retain, you spent all the money instead of retaining the 13%. And in that, you also failed in appreciating that, I mean, at least you were given authority to spend 13% of the money that were in your account, but went ahead to spend all the money. Is there any justification for that?
My Lord, sorry, Mr. Chairman, we were supposed to retain 16%, and we were only given 13%. Clearly, we didn't have enough revenue at that time to run the office. If we had not paid those utilities, our names would have also been in the papers that we are keeping our clients away from getting their certificates. At that level, management had to take that decision to sort out those bills, and we paid it back. As we speak now, we don't do that again. It's happened, we've been queried. We don't take monies out from liquidation accounts to run the office anymore.
Madam, at the time that you are finding it difficult because your IGF retention was reduced from 16 to 13.
Yes.
Did you go back to tell the one who reduced your IGF from 16 to 13 to tell that person that, look, I can't pay my electricity bill because you have reduced my IGF to 13%. Did you do that?
We did. Countless letters we wrote to the Ministry of Finance informing them about the difficulties we were going through.
What was the response from the ministry?
Nothing happened.
Which means that the ministry didn't consider your request to be important.
Well, it's a pity.
So, in that case, you decide on your own to flout the law, isn't it?
No, Mr. Chairman.
So do you want to tell this committee that spending the IGF more than you have been allocated is not a violation of the law?
Mr. Chairman, it is a violation of the law.
Then why are you saying that you have no? The same question I asked in a different form, and you say no.
At that time, it was a violation of the law.
Yes.
And we have paid that money back.
So if If a thief appeared before you, you are a judge. A thief appeared before you and said, at that time, I stole it. But now, I brought it back. Will you allow that thief to go scot-free?
Yes, I will.
You will? Anyway, your answer just released some tension. But we are serious, actually. Deputy Minister, what do you...
I consider there was an infraction, and I must also put on record that having been notified of this infraction, we've spoken to the Research Department, and this kind of action will not be repeated. Because as was already stated, our ministry is supposed to be a ministry that should not be flouting regulations and laws. But it has happened. But I give the assurance that it won't be repeated.
So what percentage of your IGF are you retaining now?
Now we're retaining 16%.
You are now gone back to the 16%?
Yes, we requested, we pleaded, we drew the attention of the Ministry of Finance to the fact that it made us very, very uncomfortable not having enough resources to run the office. And so we finally got the 16% back.
Anyway, the recommendation is that the expenditure is totally 407,000 is disallowed. 407,000, which is 87% of the 468,000 is allowed, and you're urging management to transfer the amount into the designated holding account, which you claim you have done. Auditors, can you confirm
Mr.
this?
Chairman, yes.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, yeah, we can confirm that the money has duly been transferred into the account.
All right, we'll move to the next one. Honorable Isaac, take paragraph 362.
Thank you, Mr. Honorable Chairman. The infraction here is about misapplication of liquidation fund. Chairman, according to the Auditor General, officials of the liquidation Lancaster accounts, an amount of 84,700 from the Lancaster accounts was advanced to 7 individuals and companies, contrary to the purpose for which the account was set up. And Mr. Chairman, if you look at table it's not numbered, but table on page 178, 84,000 were advanced to individuals, which is misapplication of funds. So I want to find out why that amount was misapplied.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Now, as a liquidator, you have to sometimes take decisions at a managerial level to ensure that if one liquidation has come to an end and you have funds, and another has come on board and doesn't have funds, sometimes you're able to use some of the funds to settle debts at the other end, and then when the company is finally sold, you put the money back. In this case, this is a company known as Lancaster Plant Hire Limited, and we commenced liquidation in 2012, and by this point in time, we had settled all creditors of Lancaster Plant Hire, and we had some amounts in the liquidation account, not the fees account, liquidation account. Then we had another liquidation, Kona Agro Processing Limited. It was a cashew nut factory and a very viable project like cashew nuts. It was in Wenchi. And unfortunately, nobody was coming to purchase the factory that is in Wenchi. And looking at it in Wenchi, in the forest, snakes biting the security man, we didn't have money to keep the machines safe and the security safe. So when they came to us, we borrowed monies from the Lancaster account to settle. And so all those people listed there are the security guy, that is Abuga Goodluck and Stephen Kofi. All of them, we had to give them monies to make sure that thieves don't steal the machines, and then the farm too is not overtaken with snakes, to buy fertilizer and spraying these things to manage it. Unfortunately, as I speak today, Kona has still not been purchased by anybody, and we have stopped giving monies to this gentleman because the whole idea was after it's been liquidated, we'll put the money back in Lancaster. We've paid all the creditors of Lancaster already. But as it is now, because of this thing, the gentleman is now farming, actually planting the cashew nuts, and out of the proceeds, ensuring that we're able to keep the machines going. It has been devalued from 1.2 million to about just 300,000 now because nobody is purchase it. So whatever decision we took at this time was managerial, not according to the technical reasons from the chief accountant. Me, as the official liquidator, looking at both assets, I decided to save that one than have it all destroyed. That's what happened. So the first two have been paid back. We've paid some back. It's still outstanding. Some is still outstanding, about 11,000. The remaining 73,100 has still not been paid back. Just 11,600 has been paid back. But as I said, Kona is still there. It's not been liquidated. And all liquidations are self-financing. You cannot use government funds to, manage liquidation. These are private funds. So this is not government funds that are used to work on. Yeah, but we didn't use government funds. These are private funds to ensure that the Kona is sustained. Otherwise, it would have been, all the machines would have been stolen. And I thought there was value in keeping the cashew nut factory moving than to just watch it and just to die. That's why I did what I did.
Chairman, the understanding I'm getting is that the money is not government funds.
It's not government funds, no.
It is not.
No, it's a private company.
It's a private company.
Yes. It's not government funds.
But does it really matter? Because if you look at the act, it's contrary to the action that you took.
The act is talking about me having fiduciary relationship with liquidations. And in that level, I had to make sure that both companies can survive. One is going through liquidation. I've paid off all the creditors. It's not as though we've taken money from Lancaster, creditors didn't get monies. They'd all been settled. And there was some money in the Lancaster account. And Kona comes, nobody is interested in buying it yet. And it's a valuable asset. It was a cashew nut farm with factory, factory to process it. And the security came, they need money to even stay there. The farm was snakes and all that, and I needed to keep it going. So that's what I did. But it's not government monies.
All right, so in effect, how much has been recovered from the 84,000?
11,000.
Only?
Yes, so what is outstanding is 73,100. And Kona has still not been liquidated as I speak today. The order was given by the court in 2014 for us to liquidate it, and up till now, it's still not been liquidated.
What assurance can you give to the efforts you are making to recover the remaining amount?
Okay, the one who brought the case to us was Injaro. And because I said liquidation is self-financing, they gave us just 10,000 Ghana cedis. That 10,000, we use it to put out adverts in the papers, and we've even gone beyond that, about 4 or 5 times. Once it is liquidated, we'll put this money back in the Lancaster account. What is remaining in that account now will be paid to the shareholder. For the creditors have all been settled. So once we get this money back, we pay the shareholder, then we close the liquidation. That's the issue.
Chairman. Thank you very much, Madam. So, per your assessment, your own assessment, do you think that there will be an investor who will come and buy the Kona Agro Industries?
It's a good venture. I pray. Anyway, I'll be offering it to you. Any of you here, if you're interested, it's a good cashew.
No, we don't have. We don't have money.
Okay, it's a good investment. Anybody who's interested. I mean, it's in Wenchi. There's a factory and there's a farm. What's happening each time people go? They put a lot of interest, but somehow they don't follow up. But I can't also watch it die, and have the machines stolen.
So, apart from publishing an advert inviting investors, what other measure or steps has your office taken?
We've done private placements as well, actually looking for investors to come and, we've actually gone out of our way to see if we talk about it, if they are interested. That's the best we can do.
So, in case that nobody show interest, what happened?
It's a pity, but I mean.
No, by practice, what usually happens if nobody comes up to buy? What should be the end part of this transaction?
We can't do anything about it, because somebody has to come and put money in it to get us to go ahead. The gentleman in Jaro, the Jaro kept on coming back, hoping that we could get somebody to buy it, but nobody was buying it.
I want to urge people from the Bono East and Ahafo region and northern part of Ghana to take interest in that. Honorable Mutala, do you have money to buy?
My is that if you look at the depreciation of value of the asset from 1.2 million to about 300,000, for me that is just worrying. Madam, don't you think that if you had looked for a professional marketer who would do the marketing for you, paid on commission, it would have been better? Because if you are sitting down expecting a prospective buyer to come, you may not get. But there are professionals who can take up that responsibility, get someone to buy it, and takes a commission from the sales. And I believe if you had done that, you would have reaped something. But now, even if you do that, the value will still go down. But what's the guarantee that it may end up not being valued around $10, and when it comes that way, I can come and buy it?
Honorable, no. The point is, with even this getting this person to do this job, you need to pay them. It's money that drives the whole process. As I said, every liquidation is self-financing. So, as long as I need to commission this person to do that job, I should be able to pay him some monies to do that.
No, Ms. Chama, Madam, what I'm saying is that there are professionals who won't take any dime. They take money based on the execution of the task. So they can do the marketing, get a prospective buyer, you agreed with the price, then they take a commission out of the sales that is made. So you don't necessarily need to pay money up front. So if you could be looking at that, I think it will help.
Thank you very much.
Sales agents, okay.
We'll look at that. Thank you very much.
All right, so that's all for Registrar General's Department. You are discharged. Let's have a judicial service. Let's have judicial service.
Thank you very much.
So we'll continue with judicial service. But, Minister, is the judicial service not under you?
No.
Okay, all right. So we have to take you through the oath.
I
swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Kindly introduce yourselves to the committee.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. My name is Richard Apietu. I'm a Deputy Judicial Secretary. I'm representing the Judicial Secretary who is indisposed.
Honorable Chair, my name is Mrs. Vera Techi, Director of Finance, Judicial Service.
Honorable Chair, my name is Frederick Bedu, Director of Human Resources.
Honorable Chair, my name is John Bannerman. I am Director, Court Services.
Honorable Chair, my name is Niboy Porte, Director, Administration.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. So we'll go straight to paragraph 365. Honorable Kofi Adams.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, paragraph 365 is to do with compliance audit report on expeditious hearing at the Accra Family and Juvenile Courts from the period of January to December 2018. During the audit, some dockets were sampled, and it was observed that 3 defilement cases, 1 murder case involving juveniles, traveled beyond the 6 months as enshrined in the Act. And so the magistrate presiding had no other reason but to discharge these juveniles involved. It was observed that in analyzing the docket, the magistrate did not, on any occasion, at least warn the prosecutors or advised them to create documentation or to do anything extra to aid adjudication of the case. The observation is that the juvenile involved were freed, and that will reduce the confidence society or public have in the judicial system if cases such as this, defilement and murder, could not be tried to logical conclusion because of delays and going outside of the 6 months period. The audit key recommendation here was for the Chief Justice to issue practice direction to ensure effective case management for the juvenile court. I want to find out what is the current state of affairs in terms of dealing with juveniles in this court and any other court that you have that deal with family and juvenile matters.
Honorable Chair, His Lordship, the Chief Justice, on the 5th of April, issued a circular to all magistrates under the heading Expeditious.
5th of April of what?
2022. 2022. issued a circular to all magistrates under the heading expeditious hearing of cases involving juveniles. And we can find that on Appendix A, attached. And as a result of this, the management is monitoring the courts to ensure strict compliance of this order by the Chief Justice.
This was just one court in Accra. Do we, perchance, have you, beyond the practice directives issued by the Chief Justice, which came so late in April 2022, considering the fact that the audit was done in 2018 into 2019, have you really checked whether we have such similar issues somewhere?
Respectfully, Mr. Chair, yes, as far as we are concerned, there's no such issue since the Chief Justice gave the direction.
At the time he gave the direction, or since he gave the direction, so what has happened between the time of the 5th April when these practice directives were issued?
Mr. Chair, we haven't received any report indicating that there's such infraction ongoing.
We all worry about expeditious trial of what cases, whether it is juvenile, adult, or what have you. But in the case of the family and juvenile cases, the Act really makes provision for the fact that if you don't conclude the trial within a certain period from the commencement, the persons involved would have to be discharged, whether there's some evidence against them or not. What can you tell us in the practice directive that has been issued, which would make sure that a magistrate or even prosecutors involved will not just abandon their responsibility, so that persons who may have committed such serious crimes go scot-free? What can you tell us in the practice directive that has been issued to stop this?
Mr. Chair, in addition to the direction given by the Chief Justice, the directors have been monitoring the performance of the court clerks and other staff in the courtroom to ensure that they do not do certain things that will affect or that will actually affect the speedy trial of cases. And in fact, some sanctions have been applied to some of the staff.
Sanction in relation to these ones found by the auditors, or sanction in relation to other ones that happened after these audit findings?
In terms of everything that affects the speedy trial of cases in the juvenile courts.
So it meant that before then you were not monitoring these courts, because if you look at the dates, and it's the same court, a number of cases, it wasn't too good. Mr. Chairman, well, they say now practice directives have been issued and that the directorate has a regular monitoring of courts, administrators, the clerks, and what have you. Well, what about you and the prosecutors? Even though they don't come under you directly, but what you do to their side also? I want to find out.
Mr. Chair, I know that we have brought this to the attention of the Attorney General, who can actually sanction the prosecutors, because the Judicial Service doesn't have direct control over these prosecutors. So steps have been taken to notify the Attorney General so that the prosecutors can be brought to book or their performance can be monitored so that they ensure that they do the right thing.
So does the practice directive makes room for the judge or the magistrate to at least report such prosecutor or to draw the attention of the other side, since they are not part of you, to draw the other side's attention to their, in terms of delay? Do you have that relationship? Even as a case is ongoing, not just drawing the attention of the Attorney General once, as maybe you have done? Do you have such relationship? Because this is to do with justice delivery. Both the young person going through trial in a way must have his or her case heard quickly, and the victim also must in a way find that justice has been done. Both sides needs to have issues done quickly.
So, Mr. Chair, in fact, the magistrates actually make orders, even in the courtroom, indirectly to the prosecutors, besides bringing it to the attention of the Attorney General.
Chairman, thank you very much.
Now, if a prosecutor is not showing interest in a particular case, as a judge or a magistrate, what powers do you have to compel this prosecutor to show interest in the case, especially if it's a case that involves the states?
Honorable Chair, the magistrate sitting in court manages his or her cases. The magistrate has no authority to compel a prosecutor or to direct the prosecutor how he should conduct his case. So if the magistrate is managing his or her court, the magistrate will give directive and orders as to how he or she wants the case to be tried. So if the prosecutor is not interested, the only option for the magistrate is to discharge the accused person, and the prosecutor can come back again. Beyond that, the magistrate cannot compel the prosecutor as to how to conduct his or her case.
But in this case, as per the Act, you can't come back. The Section 33 under which they were discharging them, it says that you cannot try that person again. So how do you expect when the juvenile get discharged because the prosecutor either was not showing much interest and the 6 months period elapsed, and they discharge the person under Section 33 as enshrined in the Act?
Honorable Chair, when you read the practice directive that was issued by His Lordship the Chief Justice, it's giving the magistrates the instructions to ensure that cases that are brought before them are conducted in such a manner that the prosecutor cannot do whatever he or she wants, but will follow strictly what the court put in place. So if the magistrates are to follow the instructions that have been given by the Chief Justice, I think they will also be serious in conducting their cases. Thank you.
But in this case, the magistrate has no power over the prosecutor. So despite following the instruction or the practice issued by the Chief Justice, the prosecutor decides not to adhere to it, there is nothing he can do to compel him, or there is something that he can do.
Yes, my Lord Chair, in practice in court, the magistrate has powers to write to the Attorney General and report the conduct of the prosecutor, and warn that if by such date you are not able to present your case, then the matter will be disposed of. So in actual fact, in reality, the magistrates, they have a lot of power in court. So they can always report to the Attorney General to ensure that the prosecutor is put on his or her toes.
And if nothing changes after writing to the Attorney General, Attorney General, that's the end, right?
Then that is the end.
Okay.
That is the end.
So we know where the issue is.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So we'll move to the next one. Paragraph 376.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I wanted some clarification before I ask my question. I wanted to find out how cases are heard in the court. Is it by virtue of first come, first serve, or by virtue of seniority, because there was something like that with regards to the lawyers, or the exigencies of the case? If you could tell this committee how those cases are. And I'm asking this question because of what Honorable Kofi Adams wanted to know in the earlier questions he asked.
Mr. Chair, normally the court goes by the list, the course list. But irrespective of that, they tend to seniors as well. And so it's a mixture of the exigency of the case. Sometimes the exigency of the case requires that a particular case be called. So it's a mixture of going by the course list and then seniority and then also the exigency of the case. So there's no straitjacket.
The other clarifications, I'll seek that outside this room. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, mine has to do with misappropriation of court fees. And I am flabbergasted, to say the least, that unconscious of what Afrobarometer of CDD cited the judiciary as one of state institutions that is engulfed in corruption. Now, if you have a responsibility of administering justice and you yourself is cited for some of this, I'm not saying that you are engaged in corruption. Of course, corruption is determined by perception. So whether what the Auditor General has identified or not is true or not is another issue. But of course, there is that perception. Now, if you engage in such, don't you think that is extremely worrying? And I'm saying this with a clear violation of Regulation 22 of the Financial Administration Regulation, where the Auditor General has cited your institution for failing to pay the total amount of money as revenue generated, or the monies you collected by the cashiers of your institution. They were supposed to pay about 685,743 Ghana cedis, 96 pesos. And this is in connection with 3 courts: the Abeka District Court, the Kanishi, and the Magistrate. They were supposed to pay 685,743 Ghana cedis, 96 pesos. Instead, they paid 487,701 Ghana cedis, 70 pesos. So, leaving about 198,042 Ghana cedis, 26 pesos. The auditors have identified that to be weak oversight on the part of management, in specific reference to those of you sitting here, and more so the one in charge of finance, because it falls directly under your control. Could you explain to this committee why you allowed that to happen since 2018?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With Abeka District Courts, Mr. Joseph Akula, when the incident happened, a committee was set up, a disciplinary committee. He appeared before the committee. He promised he would pay. Before we realized he had absconded. So we reported the matter to the Tesano District Commander. So we have a report on his alleged embezzlement, and then the letter that we wrote to the Ghana Police Service, the District Commander, the Tesano office. But so far, nothing has been heard from the police because he absconded. We set up a committee, he was dismissed, and we reported to the police, and he is nowhere to be found.
Madam, if you permit me, I will just read the Act. Regulation 22 of the Financial Administration Regulations 2004 states that all public monies collected shall be paid and gross into the public funds, and no disbursement shall be made from the monies collected except as provided by an enactment. It falls directly under your office. Why did you overlook the payment of such monies, the extent to which we have this huge amount of money that a person can easily abscond? Why did you overlook that?
Honorable Chair, what transpired was that EcoBank is the collecting bank for the Abeka District Court. And EcoBank is not on site at the court. So they do a daily collection at the court. So there was a lapse from EcoBank in collecting the money. And the audit report also indicated that sometimes when the bank gets there, Mr. Akula says the lights are off, so they cannot do any cash collection. So an internal audit was even done, and this was uncovered. But because the EcoBank is not on site, it was also collecting money. That is how come this happened, Mr. Chairman.
What did the internal auditor identify? Because for you to commence investigation into a matter, you should have suspected something. And I guess that occasioned the investigation or the auditing done. What did he uncover as a result of the internal auditing he did on the gentleman's activity?
Honorable Chair, the internal auditors also uncovered the embezzlement by Mr. Akula. But what he was doing was he was doing teaming and leading. When the bank comes, either he says the lights are off or he'll present not all the money that he has on hand. So this is a risk that has been identified. And at our last appearance before this committee, we told the committee that we had put steps in place to stop this. And one step was to make all cashiers have guarantors, new cashiers. Currently, we have bonded all cashiers in judicial service. Everyone is supposed to provide a guarantor so that we fall on these guarantors when these incidents happen. So this is something that happened in 2019. So we were expecting the police to help us arrest Mr. Akula so that we'll try him. But this has not happened, Honorable Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I don't want to use the word flabbergasted again. My worry about this is that we've seen people jailed in this country for stealing plantain. We've seen people jailed for pickpocketing. And the shocking aspects of it is that some of them may have reasons, but they will never be given the opportunity to give justifications why they failed to do ABCD. When we looked at the last year's report, Chairman directed several institutions for prosecution because they violated, law. I mean, I don't know whether we went or we came, because you have a duty and a responsibility to ensure that some of these things do not happen. I am particularly concerned because per the explanation you gave, you suspected that something was going on there. You asked the internal auditor to audit the books, yet the person was allowed to continue doing what he was doing. Can there be any justification to this?
Honorable Chair, what happened was the audits were done side by side. So most of the time what happens is when the cashier realizes this, their first instinct is to abscond. But this, we set up a committee, he appeared before the committee, he gave the indication of paying, and before we realized he had absconded. So our next means of retrieving money was to report him to the Ghana Police Service, which we have done.
When was the last time you checked with the Ghana Police Service as to the investigation they have done towards getting the gentleman?
Last year. Yes. Honorable Chair, that was in December last year.
This month, we are in June. July, sorry. 7 months. When did you get to know you are appearing before this committee?
Honorable Chair, that was about 2 weeks ago.
Did it occur to you that we may want to know? Because this report would have been made available to you.
Yes, Honorable Chair. Well, we were waiting for the police service to give us information.
No, what I'm saying is that you knew you were appearing before this committee.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
And you have been cited. This report is a public document, public information. You knew that we were going to ask you questions on this. Why didn't you get in touch with the police even before coming here? Because my question was that you would tell me, oh, we spoke with the police. We tried to find out sometime last week, last 2 weeks, or last month. 7 solid months. Mr. Chairman, I'll just the conclusion. The Auditor General urged management of the court to strengthen their controls on the cashier and, where appropriate, arrange for an on-site banking. Have you done that?
Yes, Honorable Chair, we have spoken with EcoBank. EcoBank has gone to inspect the site because the court has moved. They have gone to inspect the site, so they are putting in security features. Before they set up an on-site collection bank, they also have their terms of references, so they are doing that. We have spoken to EcoBank before we came here to set up the collection point at Abeka.
Mr. Chairman, I'm done.
Let me find out from the accountant or the director of finance. We have the director of finance here. Yeah, so, how often do you supervise your cashiers?
Honorable Chair, we have a system in place where the internal auditors do monthly checks. They conduct spot checks, on the spot checks. Then our non-tax revenue department also conducts spot checks. In actual fact, this matter, following our last appearance before this committee, her ladyship, the Judicial Secretary, reported the incident to the Chief Justice, and it was placed before the Judicial Council. So the Judicial Council has put in measures for constant monitoring, constant spot checks to be done by auditors, non-tax revenue unit, and management as well, Honorable Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So on this particular issue, now the issue before the police, and it looks like the police are not taking any action. What is the Judicial Service going to do to ensure that the person is apprehended? Because the police are not seems to be interested in pursuing. Do you think that you have any other option to get this person arrested?
Honorable Chair, I think Parliament gracefully assisted us the last time by issuing a warrant of arrest for declaring 2 of our officers wanted, which appeared in the dailies. And even that, we followed up with the police at Trifupraso, and the other place was another town in West Region. But so now nothing has come out of it.
No, we are hopeless.
Honorable Chair, if Parliament can gracefully assist us again by declaring Mr. Akula wanted, then maybe we'll follow up with the Tesano police and take the matter up.
So my understanding is that it's only Joseph Akula whose money is outstanding. Yes. That's 74,937. So if Joseph Akula is listening to this committee, we are directing that he should just report himself to the police, so that we'll have a negotiation on how he can pay the money back to the Judicial Service. That will be the best way to do. But if he thinks that he can hide, he will run away, but he cannot hide permanently. He'll be one day be arrested. That's what we can also do now. So, or anybody listening to this hearing and who knows Joseph Akula, Akulu should immediately inform him that this is what the Committee of Parliament is directing, that he should report himself in order to have a negotiation with the Judicial Service to pay the money back to the states. All right, so we'll move to the next one, which is paragraph. My understanding is that it's only Joseph Akulu. The auditors are saying that the entire amount is involved. So Erica Sapon is also. What happened to that one?
With Erica Sapon, after the audit work, our internal audit also did an exercise. So that was differences in revenue and deposits. With the revenue, when we did the audit again, we realized that we have to sit with the auditors and do a reconciliation because there was no shortage on revenue.
Okay.
And with deposits, we realized that EcoBank had not done some credits. So we have attached an appendix. And we have discussed this with the external audit team. We have attached the appendices, which is Appendix D in our report. We wrote to EcoBank, and then they've given us the paying slips and everything of all the deposits that they have credited.
Which means that Erica has no difference outstanding.
Yes.
So we wanted to do that reconciliation, the document you have with the auditors.
Yes.
For the auditors to confirm the current position. So the last person, Mr. Richard Ovule.
Mr. Richard Ovule, Honorable Chair, he paid part of the money. Part of the money upon further investigation, we realized that it was court payment vouchers which he had paid.
Okay.
So his amount was reduced to 833. And then he later refunded the amount. He appeared before a committee.
Okay.
And he has been dismissed.
All right, so that one should also be shown to the auditors for verification. So it means that we'll still be dealing with Joseph Akulu. Thank you very much. So let's move on to paragraph 380. Paragraph 380.
Paragraph 380. 50 payment vouchers with a value of 13,630 cedis that were not supported with the relevant documents to authenticate the transactions. And these were at Judicial Service Odumase Krobo Circuit, 44 payment vouchers amounting to 9,160 cedis. Judicial Service District Magistrate Court, Boso, 4,470. May I know whether these amounts have now been authenticated?
Respectfully, Honorable Chair, these amounts have been authenticated. With Joaboso, we have attached the court payment vouchers signed and witnessed by the judgment creditors. For Odumase Krobo, these were payments that are done at the head office at the regional capital, Koforidua. So the payment vouchers were not at Odumase Krobo. So we have managed to get some of the payment vouchers from Koforidua, our office at Koforidua. We have shown samples to the external audit team. So the rest are available at Koforidua for further investigations, Honorable Chair.
Are you satisfied with the returns you have received so far?
Yes, some few, about 3 of them, was shown to me, but the rest, they promised that the registrar was going to be here with the rest so that we all attest to it. But I wonder why the register couldn't bring those documents here. So far, it's only 3 that I saw.
So, Madam, the issue is still outstanding.
Odumasi Krobo. But we have all the payment vouchers at Koforidua, so we'll make them available to the audit team. We showed them 3 that had been brought, but the rest are available, so we make them available. That's of
Why didn't you make them available if they are available?
Honorable Chair, they are available. We'll make them available to him, to them, yes. By close of day today, we make them available to him. That of Joaboso is attached. That we have cleared. For Krobodumas, we make the documents available to the external audit team. Honorable Chair, thank you.
Okay, Chairman, may I suggest that they make them available and the auditors report back to us within 2 weeks.
All right, so, Madam, kindly make them available for authentication by the auditors.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
All right, so we'll go to the last one, which is Judicial Service Accra, charging of unapproved rates at the law courts complex. Now, auditor says that you generated revenue from office space at the law court, that is a parking lot, the posting of obituary on notices, etc., which total 184,688 Ghana cedis, 29 pesos, without obtaining parliamentary approval for the rates charged in the collection of the revenue. Now, the auditors have urged management to liaise with the Judicial Service and the Ministry of Justice to seek parliamentary approval. Has that been done?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Respectfully, we have taken action on that. We have sent a letter to the Office of the Honorable Attorney General for a request for parliamentary approval of rates, fees, and charges. And we have a copy attached to our document. Honorable
Auditors, can you confirm this?
Honorable Chair, the letter.
All right, so that'll be all for Judicial Service. The outstanding issues, kindly provide them and do the reconciliation with the auditors. Thank you very much for coming. You are discharged.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Let's have Ministry of Communication. Communication. Madam, thank you very much. You're welcome. Kindly introduce yourselves. Honorable members, order.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. My name is Magdalena Penting, Chief Director, Ministry of Communications and Digitalization. Thank you.
Honorable Chairman, my name is Eric Asuman, the Acting Director General, Ghana Meteorological Agency.
My name is Charles Badu, Director of Administration, Ghana Meteorological Agency.
My name is Daniel Soblo, Chief Accountant, GMET.
Honorable Chairman, my name is Alexander Yao Afo, Director of Finance and Administration, Minister of Communications and Digitalization.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. I have the information about the excuse for the minister and the deputy, so we will take you. You have three issues, two involving Ghana Meteorological Agency, and then the other one, NITA. So we'll start with Ghana Meteo. Paragraph 353. Honorable Samson, take Honorable Dumako's paragraph 353.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Your infraction here has to do with tax withheld, not remitted to GRA, 81,542. According to the auditors, this amount totaling a contract, you supplied an amount, a transaction totaling 2,118,655 with 57 payment vouchers to suppliers for goods and services. But you did not remit an amount of 81,000 to GRA. Why the case?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The transactions that had this GRA transmission, some were directly paid from our ministry to the suppliers, and so the tax component was paid on behalf of the agency by our ministry. About 46,000 of it. When it came to our notice, we called for the statement from GRA, and we identify those that has been paid on our behalf from our ministry, which the information wasn't with us at the time that auditors came there. The balance of about 35,000 had been paid way back in December last year, and the document has been made available to the auditors for their verification. Thank you.
Are you telling the committee that you were able to retreat the withholding tax from GRA receipt paid to GRC by your ministry? And have you made those receipts available to the auditors?
Honorable, exactly so. We made those documents available to the auditors.
What you paid from your agency?
Yes, please, Honorable Chair.
Can you confirm that you receive all the on-payment withholding tax, both from the minister and from them?
Yeah, Honorable Chair, yes. The tax has been paid by the agency.
So no outstanding issue as far as the withholding tax is concerned?
Please, yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair.
All right, let's move to the next one. Paragraph 358. Honorable Chinia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Your infraction here is failure to transfer government share of internally generated fund. You generated an amount of 541,467 cedis 30 pesos, and you were supposed to retain 34% and transfer an amount of 357,368 cedis 55 pesos, but you only transferred 159,368 cedis 55 pesos, leaving an outstanding amount of 198,000. Have you, paid this outstanding amount?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. 300,000 was what inadvertently not put into the holding account at the time. And way back in October 2019, when our attention was drawn to the issues, this amount was transferred to the holding account for the capping policy to take effect. And this document has been made available to the auditors for their verification. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Can you explain your expression? How can this be? Because I'm sure you are familiar with the regulation. So how can it be? The law is very clear, and as the head of the agency, you should know it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. At the time, the accountant depositing the check, instead of putting it in the holding account, put in the operational accounts. In fact, if you look at it, it talks about the fact that about 54 plus thousand was the amount that had been generated IGF at the time, and 300,000 of it was not put in the holding account. So that's why I said inadvertently, because we're expecting that gross figure, because the money comes in various forms, not at a go. And so when they were putting the money in the holding accounts, we expected that all of it would have been gone there. But unfortunately, this 300,000 was not put in the holding account. And as I said, way back 15th October 2019, we instructed the head of banking of Bank of Ghana to transfer from our operation accounts to the holding accounts so that the capping policy can take effect as directed.
But it appears you are, from your narration, you are disputing the facts as put in here by the auditors, because they say that you generated 541,467,050 pesos, and you were supposed to pay 357,368 cedis 55 pesos, but you rather paid 159,368 cedis 55 pesos to the withholding account, leaving a balance of 198,000, but you are talking of 300,000. What you are saying is quite different from what is here, as reported by the auditors. You reconcile it.
All right, Chair, we reconcile the figures with the auditors and with documents, and I think they can attest to.
Have been transferred into the holding account.
I'm talking about the figures that you have given here, you have reported here, is different from what he's talking about, because you said they were supposed to pay 357,000, but they paid 179,000, leaving 198,000. But he is talking of they paying 300,000, which is completely different from what is here.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. We have done a reconciliation with them, and we have confirmed the amount that needs to be transferred. And the amount of 198 is part of the 300,000 that have been transferred. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so my final question, you you have been advised not to repeat these infractions. So have you changed? Are you sure subsequently you are doing the right thing?
Exactly so, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm done.
All right, so let's move to Honorable Yusuf, paragraph 356. 356.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, the infraction there has to do with unacquitted payments. And Chairman, let me seek clarification. The total amount assigned to NITA is 199. Seven. The infraction is that you breached Regulation 39 of the Financial Administration Regulations 2004. First of all, I want to find out whether indeed you agree with the auditors that you have breached this law.
Mr. Chairman, good morning, good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to honorable members of the committee. My name is Richard Ochiri Fosu, Director General for NITA. Mr. Chairman, I'm here on 5 happened. I was not at a post. I was in post in January 2020. We have ensured that all these things have been acquitted, and we've shared it with the auditors. Thank you.
So you are here because there's an infraction. Is that the case?
Yes, sir.
And the infraction in reference is that a regulation has been breached. And I'm asking whether or not you agree that that regulation has been breached.
Mr. Chairman, I agree. Thank you.
That set the basis for us to engage ourselves, okay? Good. So once that has been, you've agreed that you've breached the law, I won't ask why you have breached it. The issue is that some payment vouchers were not accounted for at the time the auditors were at post. Why did it happen that way?
Honorable, you said you don't ask why. So go straight and said he has agreed that yes, he has reached the law. So that is why they are here. So the why question is not needed here. What action have they taken? Because he has already agreed that he's breached the law.
Chairman agreed. I'm not prosecuting Chairman. With your permission, let's go by what Chairman has decided to direct us to do. Okay? Have you accounted for those payment vouchers?
Mr. Chairman, yes, we have. And the auditors can confirm.
Before the auditors confirm, I have in my hands some of the payment vouchers. Payment voucher number 424 has to do with some expenditure you incur as a result.
Ghana, the Right to Information Act 2019, Act 989 is here. It is your fundamental right to access public information. Do you wish to request for information? People,
that has really put in financial difficulties, because we put money in these rectification work and we provide service to the MDAs and MMDAs, and often at times we do not get paid. But to cure that, one of the things that we've actually suggested, and there's a meeting that is being scheduled through the VIP's office, the Vice President's office, is that we must consolidate all government fiber assets for government to enjoy our digitalization agenda. And in so doing, we are also saying that fiber cuts should be a national security agenda, all right? Because all these things cost a lot of...
What question is being answered this way?
Mr. Chairman,
the question is about 5 PVs.
Mr. Chairman, I expanded on a question the honourable member asked.
Chairman, I have the PVs here, and I tried interrogating the PVs, and one of them suggests that some damage was done to some fiber optic line by a private company. And so they incurred some monies in repairing that line, and they were supposed to retrieve that money from that private company.
Is it part of their recommendation that they should retrieve that money from the private company?
They said that they should get the officers to refund the money. And if the officers are not able to refund the money, they should surcharge them. Auditors, can you confirm that he's acquitted the 5 PVs?
Thank you, Chairman. Please, that has been done by the agency.
I just want to suggest that whosoever has incurred some expenditure in respect of a damage done by a private company should be able to retrieve the money for government. Thank you.
Thank you, Honourable.
Now, the remaining 16 PVs are not for NITA, they are for Kofi Annan. Do we have Kofi Annan here?
No, Chair, no. They were not asked to appear before the committee.
Chairman, I think the mistake is from the report. The report?
There is a report.
Yeah,
the report, the heading talks about NITA. So when we were inviting, we only picked NITA. But the details included Kofi Annan. So that is a fault from the auditors. Well, so it means that that will be all for NITA. And then we'll find time and bring Kofi Annan to come and respond to their portion. On that note, you are discharged.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, so let's have, do we have Minister of Foreign Affairs? Are they here? What of Minister of Transport? They were scheduled to come here before the committee today. We've not had any communication from them to their all right, so once we did not hear from them, we'll reschedule them. I'm sure they are listening to us and watching us. Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Transport, we'll reschedule them. On that note, that will bring us to the end.
Right to Information Act 2019, Act 989 is here. It is your fundamental right to access public information. Do you wish to request for information? Be bold and visit any public institution and make a request. Put your request into writing. If you're unable to write or disabled, do not worry. Make the request orally. The officer is ready to help you. Decision on applications shall be taken within 14 days. When information needed is urgent, state the urgency, and the decision shall be taken within 48 hours. When access to information is denied, seek for an